And if you guys got questions, if I'm going fast or I said something, yes ma'am, please.
You already have a domain established. Can you use that for this particular transfer it over, or how's that work?
I'm not sure. I'm not 100% familiar with this particular platform on moving in. Intuit does have web pages. I think this one is designed, this particular one's designed for, this is actually part of a project called Texas Get Online. And the goal is to help Texas businesses who don't have web pages to establish one. So under this particular program, I don't believe you can do that. However, Intuit will let you get their $4.99 site probably, most likely, and transfer your domain in. We can take a look after this session, and I could probably answer that a little better. But remember, this is part of a, this free version is part of a project for Texas businesses to get online, which may not allow you to bring it over. But you know, you can also do some things too. You can do a contraction of your name or your organization, and in your other website, you can just point right to it. You can do what's called a 301 redirect, which is the best way. The non-best way is you just use some code, and you can get it off of Google very easily. But it's usually just one line of code, and they've got an example code, and all you have to do is use the example code and put your own URL in there. And so you can point your current domain, so if anybody loads and goes to it, it will automatically redirect them to a new site you might set up here. It's a very simple process. You just have to have back-end access. So continuing to go down through the buttons here. Yes, ma'am. Go right ahead.
I wanted to know, we use Microsoft Office for a while because they have almost the same platform. But the only problem with Microsoft Office, well, it's Office Live.
Yeah.
Was they don't activate any of your meta tags or any of that for your searches. Does this activate
yes,
for you?
it does.
Go in and manually after?
It doesn't. You have the ability to use metadata, and you can include meta tags. You can use keywords, which are important for search engine optimization. Which we all know, if we're a business, we'd love for somebody to type in some keywords that are relevant to our whatever we do, and then for us to be at the top, or at least the home page, on Google or other search engines. So what we have are these things called meta tags and keywords. This does allow you to include. Well, yeah, it can't read your mind though. So I mean, what would some of your?
Well, you know, some of the pick up out of your content.
Yeah. Well, let me give you Yeah, well, let me show you something. Pick something out of your content. Let me show you how to do something real quick. I did a little blog post on this last week because a buddy of mine, he gave me this tip for something else, which just led me to think. Y'all familiar with word clouds? If you go to things like Amazon or some websites, you may see kind of like this square box on a web page, and in it, it will have words, and then as the more often the word shows up, the bigger it's going to be. And there's this web page called Wordle. And what Wordle does, this is a word cloud, and I'm going to use this one as an example. What Wordle does is it allows you to build tag clouds. They're kind of cool. They make nice graphics. You can put them on your screen. You know, when my daughter was getting married, we were building a little wedding website for her, and we had cut and pasted the content from the web page, and we just pasted it into Wordle. And it was I'd already written the words, the documents, and then what Wordle does is it looks, and the more often it sees something, the larger the word is. So if you had content on your website, all you do is go to Wordle for free, you just cut it from your website, paste it in there, and it will give you the words that show up most often. That's right, and there you go. If this was my web page, I cut the content that was already there and pasted it in. These would be keywords that I want to make sure were showing up in my meta tags. So now here's the next level of that. And again, this is free. Wordle.net. The next one is, okay, I'm new to the game. I would like to know what are the most likely search tags that are used in my field. Again, let's use a flower salesman. The flower shop is an example. I'm new. I know I love to sell flowers, but I don't know this web stuff very well. I want to place kind of high. How can I do that? There is a program called Google Analytics. And Google Analytics is free. If you have a Google account, it's very easy. If you don't have one, it's easy to set up a Google account. It's free. And then you just check into Google Analytics. And Google Analytics will help you determine some of the key search terms through their dashboard. The next thing they'll do is they'll allow you to cut a piece of code, and just like I'm showing you on how this web page works, what I can do is I can add some code to my web page, and Google Analytics will look all the time at what search terms are used to come to my site. And then I can go back to Google Analytics once a month or whatever my frequency is, and I can look to see what are the words that are hitting on my website. And then maybe I want to enhance them, or maybe I want to de-emphasize, or maybe some words that you really don't want to be found as often. So again, using the free tools that are out there and knowing about them, Google Analytics is one. To use the tag clouding with Wordle to help you find out what are your keywords, and then what keywords are missing. What am I missing the boat on? So again, a couple of tools that may help you with that. You saw I entered the text right there. That's what my text box looked like. The next one I want to show you, and of course I can grab it and I can move it and put it where I'd like. So this is kind of a wiggy sig. What you see is what you get, viewer. Media file, I can include various types of media. I'm assuming that I could probably get the full.
Put video in there.
Yeah. There was something specifically for YouTube, and I'll show you that here in a moment. HTML, remember I was telling you about the code. Things like putting my Google Analytics on my page. To put Google Analytics on, you set up your account, and then they're going to give you some code. It's cryptic HTML code if you're not familiar with the language of the web. You don't even need to know what it all means. You click the button that says highlight here, and it copies it all. Then you go to this box. Remember, I clicked right here. It said HTML. It gave me the box. And then it says use property editors, which is over here. I just click on enter and paste HTML. And they recommend you put it at the bottom of your page. The customers don't see it, but all you do is go in here and you just paste it in. You just paste it in. And then you hit save, and it's actually on your page. So, let's see if I can get down there. So that's how I would add those things in my pages, by clicking right here, the HTML button. Last button I want to show you is rectangle. And that's basically you can make backgrounds or colors or different shapes that go in there. So just some of the features you can add in. Now, that's for editing your page. I said add in, but actually this is where the add in is at. Let me see if I can get rid of that. These are the content items that I can add in. You can see I can add images, image effects. Like I may have a picture of a shaded house. If I put my mouse over it, it could be color. You can get that advanced. And then when the mouse goes away, it goes back to a shaded color. Photo galleries, image scrollers. If I want multiple images, a house to, 5 different houses to scroll on, maybe in this block or over here somewhere. Here's where we can add YouTube video, other media files, sound, and then that advanced HTML. The next button is design. And I'm really not going to go through each of these. I know we have a limited time, but I just want you to kind of get a feel of this site. Again, there may be other, we talked about live, there may be other platforms out there that may suit your needs. What I like about this one is it's a good starter, and it don't cost you anything, which is pretty handy when you're first kicking off. It does have a lot of capability for a template-driven site. A lot of template-driven sites are either very limited or can really get complicated for the new user. The more you use it, the more familiar you become with it, and then you get a little better and you can do some advanced work. Again, some more designs, circles, rectangles. You can add navigations and buttons, information, the types of information. You can add a MapQuest map, directions to where you're at. E-commerce. There is some e-commerce built into it. A simple store, you could sell a few things. Web payment, you can integrate PayPal. If you're doing any e-commerce, you probably want to be doing PayPal at some point. Okay, so those are the things that I can do on my, that I can insert, that I can edit, that I can add. I didn't go a lot through this extended menu right here. Anytime you do something, you're going to do a lot of work in this panel. Each one of them has their own particulars, really. For that device that I added in, these are the steps I would have to take to edit it. You know, I guess this is an image. So if I want an image, you know, I'd select it here. I decide if I want to move it or zoom it in or zoom it out. I may want to fit it to the frame or expand it to the edge. I can rotate it and do some other things. I can make a thumbnail. So each one of these is going to have a different content box right here, the properties, and some of them are self-explanatory. You may have to use their help menu if it gets too complicated for you.
I went to a session, I guess a couple of weeks ago, about website optimization for a smartphone device. Is that what that optimizes?
No, that's not going to optimize for
mobile
It's just a
device.
smaller version of your page. So there are some things you can do. Getting auto detection is kind of tough. I tell you right now, particularly on a site like this, the best way I would suggest you optimize for a mobile device is, I haven't got there yet. If you look here, I've got 3 pages on my website. If you want to optimize for mobile, I would suggest you put a page in here that's a mobile page that is very limited on graphics, that just has content, maybe a link or two, phone numbers, the basics that you really want them to hear, and then you just put a link, maybe even a text link somewhere at the very top, so they don't have to scan or scroll very far, that says click here for mobile. There are some advanced features that will allow auto detection, so when they log in, it'll automatically know. But for a site like this, that's probably the second or third level that you'd want to get to. You can make a small or a light version of your page, but you have to add that separately. So again, I was going over the properties right here. Each box has its own properties. Each one may have different questions that you have to answer or features that are available to you. The best way to get familiar with it is test them out. You can set up a sandbox, basically, where you can go in and mess around. A page you can practice on. Doesn't hurt nothing if it's not linked anywhere. You can practice your skills and actually editing these sites. The one other thing I want to show you is, I mentioned the other pages. There is a standard number of pages you can get. You have a number of choices you can choose from in their menu. This one is a About Us page. You can talk more about your company. You can talk about yourself and various things. And then the other one that I chose was a Contact Us page. You could list where you're located. There's that map integration. We talked about MapQuest. You know, your phone number and your address, and then it has a built-in Contact Us. If you put your email out there, boy, I tell you, there's robots that go out there and scan the web looking for your email, and they love to spam you. So some contact forms will do some spam filtering for you, and a lot of times that's better for you than having your email in the raw out on the web. So generally, this is Texas Get Online. It is run by Intuit. That's the company. They are partnered with Google to get as many Texas-based companies to establish a website. For 1 year, you'll get this free. You'll get a free URL that belongs to you. And then after a year, if you're so interested, you could continue with them, or you may be at the next level and ready to move to a full-time site. So I'd love to take questions, or if you just want to talk about something dealing with this or even any other social media topic, I'd be glad to.